ॐ दक्षिणास्य समारम्भा शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमा अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ता स्मर्या गुरुपरम्परा श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। परिज्ञानाश्रम श्रीगुरुशङ्कर परिज्ञानाश्रम शङ्कर सद्गुरु केशव वामन कृष्णपाण्डुरङ्ग आनन्द परिज्ञान गुरु सद्यो जात शङ्कर सद्गुरु गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. So we are looking into the one of the most well studied and most well commented upon Advaita stotras of Adi Shankaracharya, the Dakshinamurti stotram, which in the last 3 sessions I have given enough of introduction and also that it is nothing but a Vedanta Prakarana Grantha. And we already started the main stotram, the main body of the stotram, after having gone through the introduction to Dakshinamurti stotram. And in the next session, we went through the Dhyana shlokas of Dakshinamurti stotram. And in the last session, we went through the first 2 verses of the main Dakshinamurti stotram. As I said in the last session, the Dakshinamurti stotram actually gives the entire substance or the crux of what is the teaching of Vedanta, actually in the first 4 verses. 4 verses of Dakshinamurti stotram, it actually gives the teaching of the central or the core teaching of Vedanta is given. After that, it is the reiteration of the same thing. And most importantly, the first 3 verses talk about the Tvam Padartha in the first verse, Atman, the Swarupam of Atman in the first verse. The second verse talks about Brahman or the Tat Padartha as Jagat Karanam, which we saw in the last session. In the first verse we saw in the last session, I have really taken a very long time in the last session where I discussed only 2 verses, and the first verse Vishwam Darpana Drishyamana Nagari Tulyam Nijatargatam Pashyadnatmani Mayaya Bahiri Iva Udbhutam Yatha Nidraya Ya Sakshat Kurute Prabodha Samaye Swatmanameva Advayam Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Nama Idam Shri Dakshinamurtaye. So what Bhagwan Shankaracharya says here is that first let us see what this world is. And is this world really outside as we think it is? Or is this world in the Adhishtanam of me, the Atma itself? Is this entire world within me like Swapna Prapancha? So he compares the Jagrit Prapancha also to Swapna Prapancha and says that during the Swapna Avastha, that is during dreaming, though the entire dream is happening within me in my mind, but I experience the whole dream as if it is outside me. And the dream world is something outside me. Me means the waker, the one who has gone to sleep. It is outside me. I experience the whole world of Swapna along with the people in the Swapna, the situations in the Swapna, everything as though it is outside me. And what Vedanta says is very similarly, That world which we consider as real and which we perceive outside is actually nothing but a projection of that world from within us, just like we projected a world of swapna during our dreaming state. And then what is the adhishtanam, or what is it that is actually the reason, or that in which this Swapna Prapancha as well as the Jagrit Prapancha is projected? It is nothing but this Atma Chaitanya. That is what is being said here. So, Tvam Padartha, or my Swarupam, or my very nature, as the consciousness Swarupam or the Chaitanya Atma, is described in the form of the Swapna Prapancha example, which shows that I, this consciousness, I, the waker, and I, this consciousness, is actually that in which this entire jagat of swapna is projected. And when I wake up from the swapna avastha, I realize that whatever I dreamt was not really outside me but was inside me. Similarly, this whole Jagrit Prapancha is nothing but something like Swapna Prapancha. It is something which looks as if outside me, it is a mere projection. It is a projection outside me. And this whole world is projected onto myself, the Atma. The Atma is the one, because of Maya, this consciousness, with the help of Maya, projects a world as though it is outside. And when I wake up to the higher reality of my real nature, my Swarupam or Atma Swarupa, I realize that just like Swapna Prapancha, the Jagrat Prapancha or that Prapancha which I very clearly see now and perceive is nothing but that which is a projection and which is not real. What is the reality? What is the ultimate reality? It is the Adhishtanam or the Chaitanya Swarupa, in which the Swapna Prapancha is also projected, the Jagrat Prapancha is also projected. Therefore, what is the reality of this Jagat? The reality of Jagat is nothing but the Chaitanya Atma, I myself. From the point of view of the world outside, the very same consciousness is called as Brahman. But the Atma, that is this consciousness, is that in which the Swapna Prapancha is projected, and Brahman is that very consciousness in which the entire Jagrat Prapancha is projected. Difficult to digest. Yes, I understand. Because Dakshinamurti stotram, that is why, is generally studied after having studied a few Upanishads. Yes, it is difficult to understand, but we have to make an effort. We have to make an attempt to understand this. We have to keep repeating it again and again. Listen to it again and again. So the Tvam Padartha or the Atma Swarupa in the form of the Adhishtanam or the very base or the very support in which both the Jagrat and Swapna Prapancha are projected. So, from the point of view of a Jnani who has woken up to the highest reality, that is the Paramarthika Satyam, the one who clearly understands Aham Brahmasmi, he does not find any difference between the Swapna Prapancha and the Jagrat Prapancha. The Jagrat Prapancha, however solid and however true it may appear during my experience during the Jagrat Avastha, that same Jagrat Prapancha is not available to me in Swapna Avastha. That same solid Jagrat Prapancha is not available to me in the Sushupti or deep sleep Avastha. Similarly, that Swapna Jagat which I see in dream is not available to me in the Jagrat Avastha or in the Sushupti Avastha. Therefore, Jagrat Avastha or Jagrat Prapancha and Swapna Prapancha are two mutually exclusive things, and at the same time, both of them are of the same kind. That is, both of them are mere projections. And what is the reality? I, the Atma, in which the Jagat is projected, both Jagrit with the help of Maya and the Swapna Prapancha with the help of Nidra Avidya, whatever is projected onto that consciousness is the reality. That is the Paramarthika Satyam, Aham or I. The very first verse itself is like putting a bombshell, something which is a little hard nut to crack. Yes, I understand. But then it takes some time of repeated listening to understand this. And in the second verse, we saw what is that Tat Padartha or Brahman. It is the same consciousness. When I say aham, okay, aham is that I, this consciousness, is nothing but the adhishtanam called as Brahman. The names are different, but it is the same consciousness in which the entire Jagat, the Jagrit Prapancha, is projected. And this particular projection of the Jagrit Prapancha is called as the creation. There is a Upanishad called Mandukya Upanishad, in which Gaudapadacharya, the grand guru of Adi Shankaracharya, rejects even the creation. He says there is no creation at all. Of course, that is not something which we are discussing. But here, what is said in the second verse is the creation is not something where a particular thing is actually created. He said in the second verse, Bijasyantarivangkuro jagadidam prang nirvikalpam punaha. This whole jagat, the matter, the material, the Panchabhautika jagat is actually present in an unmanifest form in the cosmic soup of Maya or Prakriti. And when we say a creation, when we say a srishti, it is nothing but the unmanifest universe coming into a manifest form, Maya itself. Why it projects? What is the reason? What is the stimulus for the projection of this, or from potential form to the manifest form? When and why the Jagat is projected by Maya, that is a totally different topic. But let us understand one thing, that there is no question of anything being created newly. There is no question of anything being destroyed. All that matter principle which we see in the form of this Jagat was there from there is no question of beginning. It has always been there. And that matter principle in the same amount and quantity will always be there. Only thing is the matter only changes in form. That's all. So the matter, entire material world goes into a resolution at the so called end of the creation. And then it remains in a potential form. No Namarupas are there. All the Namarupas are in a potential form in Prakriti or Maya. And at a particular point of time, whatever may be the reason, they are different. That is, at that particular time, Maya or Prakriti manifests this world in the form of literally opening up this entire Jagat. The whole thing is projected. So, in Maya, in Prakriti, the entire Jagat is in a bija form, in a seed form. Therefore, Prakriti or Maya is actually called as the very seed for the Sthula and Sukshma Prapanchas. The Karana Shariram or Maya Karana Shariram equivalent in the Jiva is called as the Bija for the Sthula Sharira and Sukshma Sharira. Therefore, what happens at the time of creation? Just like a seed sprouts into an ankura, into a sapling, and that sapling grows into whatever tree it has to grow. If we look into the seed, we cannot find anything. We cannot make out that this is the seed that is going to sprout into this particular thing only. A mango seed will erupt or sprout only into a mango sapling and a mango tree. Similarly, each seed has in it the software to manifest itself when the conditions are right. When the time comes, when the seed is properly sown into the soil with the proper watering and everything, what happens ultimately is the seed sprouts. And later, what happens is the seed completely goes and it manifests into a tree. But what is said here is that Maya, being a seed, it literally projects a world. How does it project? Vyakruti, that is this, what you call like I told you, gave you an example of a sari being, even unfolded, just thrown like this. The whole world is literally from a point of unmanifest condition, it is actually projected into a manifest form. And whatever we find as that particular world of projection, the matter that is there is only of experiential reality, Vyavaharika Satyam. It is not the absolute reality, not the Paramarthika Satyam. Therefore, it is Panchabhautikam, made up of five elements. It is constantly changing. It appears at one time and also gets resolved, and it gets resolved and disappears after some time. This is actually that particular state of this Jagat, and what is it that is responsible for Maya to create this Jagat and later resolve it into itself. It is nothing but Brahman or Atma or this consciousness. This Chaitanya Atma is the Adhishtanam, getting support from which Maya, the Shakti of Brahman, manifests the whole universe, which is called as the Srishti. And at the end of the creation, the whole manifest world goes into an unmanifest world of name and form. That is it. So he says, and how does it do that? Maya, how does Maya do that? Taking existence, borrowing existence from Brahman, borrowing consciousness from Brahman. And the example given here is Mayavi iva vijrambayati Mahayogi vayasvechaya. So just like a Mayavi, a magician weaves a whole stage of magic, and how a yogi can create a universe like Vishwamitra Rishi, who created the Trishanku, a universe itself for a particular individual. Similarly, this Maya projects the whole universe, taking Brahman as the very support. Therefore, initially in Vedanta, Brahman is explained as Jagat Karanam. It is a Jagat Karanam Brahma, it is said. What kind of a Jagat Karanam? What kind of a cause is it? We have already seen it in Vivek Chudamani. We have already seen it in Kathopanishad. It is Abhinna Nimitta Upadana Karanam. The intelligent principle and the material principle which cannot be separated. Brahman and Maya cannot be separated. Those two together form what is called as the intelligent and the material cause, inseparable material and intelligent cause of the entire universe, which in our culture is represented in the form of the Ardhanarishwara principle. Brahman as Shiva and Maya as Shakti, where there is no line of differentiation. They merge into one, and the whole universe is created out of them. So, this is the secret of the creation of the universe, and Brahman is known to be the Jagat Karanam. Now, in the next verse, third verse, the Mahavakya is talked about. What is this Mahavakya? That Atmaswarupa which I am, which was discussed in the first verse, that I, the Atma, I, the Chaitanya Swarupa Atma, is the Adhishtanam, is the support on which the Jagrat and the Swapna Prapanchas are projected. I am that consciousness. The Jagrit Prapancha being a projection is Mithya. The Swapna Prapancha being a projection is Mithya. We have already dealt with what is Mithya, what is Satyam. Satyam means that which can exist by itself without any other support. That is only one thing in this Jagat, Atma or Brahman. Whereas everything else which depends upon something else for its existence is called as Mithya. And Vedanta says everything else other than Brahman is Mithya because nothing can exist by itself. It exists only with the support of Brahman. Atma, Brahman, or this Chaitanyam consciousness is the very support of every matter principle for its existence. Therefore, what he says here is that the first verse talks about the Atma Swarupam, the second verse talks about the the Brahma Swarupam as Jagat Karanam. Now the third verse talks about this Atma Brahma Aikyam. Tattvamasi Mahavakya, which I have to understand as Aham Brahmasmi. I, this consciousness, in which both my Swapna Jagrit Prapanchas are projected, is the very same Brahman which is the Adhishtanam of everything else. That is why it was said in another Upanishad, Mayeva Sakalam Jatam. In me, this consciousness, in me, this Brahman, everything is created. In me, this Brahman, Mai Sarvam Pratishtitam, everything exists. Mai Sarvam Layam Yati. In me, everything gets resolved. What is the meaning of me? Not this body, mind, sense complex. The meaning of me is this Atma Swarupa, which is nothing but Brahman. Atma Brahma Aikyam. Tat Brahma Tvam Atma Asi. That Brahman you are. That Brahman and you, the Chaitanya Atma, are one and the same. That is the ultimate teaching of Upanishads, which is taught by the Jnana Mudra by Dakshinamurti. Now that is what is going to be discussed in the third verse. So let me read the third verse. As I said, I will read it twice so that you will know how to chant it. So यस्यैव स्फुरणं सदात्मकम् असत्कल्पार्थगं भासते साक्षात् तत्त्वमसीति वेदवचसा यो बोधयत्याश्रितान् यत्साक्षात्करणात् भवेन्न पुनरावृत्तिर्भवाम्भोनिधौ तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नम इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये. So, yasyaiva sphuranam, that consciousness or chaitanyam or knowingness which is called as Puranam, or that which is called as the Spurti. These are the names given for consciousness. Yasyaiva Spuranam. This Atma, which is nothing but of the nature of consciousness or knowing, Spuranam, Spurti Rupa Atma. The very same Spuranam, the very same consciousness, Sadatmakam, that is of the nature of existence also. Sat Atmakam, Sadatmakam. So, how do we explain Brahman or Atma? Satta Spurti Pradayaka. Satta means what? That which is the existence of everything. Spurti means what? That which is the consciousness in everything. And what is it? It is this Atma. So you may say that, yes, I understand, I am the consciousness principle, but how is it that you can say that I am the one who is the adhishtanam of the entire Jagat also. How can I say that? How can I understand that? For that it is said here, Yasyaiva Spuranam Sadatmakam. This Puranam or this knowingness, this awareness, this consciousness which I call Atma is also the existence principle behind this body also, behind all the other bodies also, and behind all the objects of the universe also. That means what? When I say I am, what do I say always? I am, I am, I am, I say. And that is something which I am experiencing all the time. Whatever I add later are attributes to that I am. So, from the point of view of the body, I may say, I am born on such and such a day. I am so many years old. I am healthy so far. I am having these problems in health in the last few years. I am hungry. I am thirsty. Okay. I am depressed. Or I am desirous of something. Or, I am jealous of somebody. I am envious of something. Okay. Or I am intelligent. I am aware of what I know. I don't know. So when I mean all this, what do I mean? The experience I am is all the time there. We'll get into that verse again about this constant experience of myself as I am. So when I say I, it is Spurti Swarupa or the knowingness or the consciousness Swarupa called as I is the knowingness. Am is nothing but the existence. I am existing. I know I am existing. That I is the knowing and am is the existence. So what he says is, Yasyaiva Spuranam, that knowingness, me, is also the existence, also the easiness in every asat kalparthagam bhasate. That means what? This Puranam itself, this knowingness, this consciousness itself is nothing but the very existence or the very adhishtanam of everything. Asat means even the anatma, the every anatma, every matter principle which depends on its existence on this atma. So yasyaiva spuranam sadatmakam asatkalparthagam bhasate. So the same consciousness I manifest myself as the existence and consciousness in everything in this jagat. Asat Kalparthaga means in all the objects of the universe, Satta Rupena, Spurti Rupena. That's why when I describe anything, what do I say? The book is, the tree is, the house is, the light is, the weather is, okay, he is, she is, you are. So, what is that? Is this? Ourness, it is nothing but satta, existence. So, this me, yasyaiva spuranam, this consciousness shines satta rupena, spurti rupena in all the anatma, all the objects of the world. Asat kalparthagam bhasate. It is the one which shines as existence, the easiness, the amness, the arness, and consciousness, the I, when I say, in everything. In any of the objects of the Jagat, where the Sukshma Sharira is there, like in any Jiva, it shines as both existence and consciousness, Satta and Spurti. That's why I say, I am, you are. In objects of the world where there is no Sukshma Sharira, which are Jada, it merely shines as Satta Swarupena, existence Swarupena. So, Yasyaiva Spuranam Sadatmakam Asat Kalparthagam Bhasate. Sakshat Tattvamasiti Vedavachasa Yo Bodhayati Ashritam. And this particular thing that we saw now is explained by none other than all the Mahavakyas of the Upanishads, which is the most important teaching Mahavakya of the Upanishads. That is from the Chandogya Upanishad, Tattvamasi. So, Sakshat Tattvamasi iti Vedavachasa. So, this particular understanding of this very consciousness manifests in the form of satta, existence, spurti, consciousness, in all the objects of the world. So, that consciousness which shines in all the objects of the world, satta spurti rupena, is nothing but you. In the Jagat, behind all the anatma objects of the Jagat, it may be given the name of Brahman, but this consciousness, you, is nothing but that Brahman. Tasmat sakshat tastattvamasi iti vedavachasa yaha bodhayati ashritan. Yaha, who? The Guru. Bodhayati, gives this knowledge. To whom? Ashritan. Those Shishyas who have surrendered to the Guru for this knowledge. Sakshat Tattvamasi iti Vedavachasa Yaha Bodhayati Ashritan. What is that Tattvamasi? Yasyaiva Spuranam Sadatmakam Asatkalparthagam Bhasate. That knowledge in the form of Tat Tvam Asi. You, this consciousness, is nothing but the Satta Spurti Pradayaka Brahman, which is behind every asat or every mithya or every anatma object in the Jagat. So, Sakshat Tattvamasi iti Vedavachasa Yo Bodhayati Ashritan. The one who gives this knowledge or gives this teaching to the students or to the Shishyas who have surrendered to the Guru. Yat Sakshat Karanat भवेत् न पुनरावृत्तिः भवाम्भोनिधौ. When this Mahavakya is sakshat karoti, when this is clearly assimilated, this teaching of Tattvamasi, which is given by the Guru, my Guru who's giving me this teaching, when I assimilate it without any doubt, when I abide in that knowledge, knowing very well that Aham Brahmasmi, what teaching was given? Tat Tvam Asi. You are that was the teaching given. How do I assimilate it? Yes, I am that Brahman. This is how I acknowledge or I assimilate that teaching. So, Yat Sakshat Karana, the one who does, who assimilates this knowledge, Sakshat Karana, very clearly who understand. Sakshatkara does not mean you see Brahman standing in front of you, no. Yet Sakshat Karanat means what? When I have understood this Tattvamasi teaching very clearly in the form of Aham Brahmasmi, Bhave na punaravritti bhavam bhonidho. No question of punaravritti. No question of coming back again. Where? Bhava ambho nidho. In the samsara sagara of, whatever, in the sagara of samsara, of dukkha, in the samsara sagara, dukkha sagara, samsararnava tarane asti upayah. Or who said that? The Guru said in Vivek Chudamani. So when the Shishya was worried how he is going to really, is there any way of getting out of this samsara arnava? He said, don't worry, asti upaya. There is an upaya to cross this ocean of samsara. What is this upaya? Understanding the Vedantic teaching of Mahavakya Tattvamasi. So, Yat Sakshat Karanat, when I or whoever completely assimilates and abides in this knowledge, of the Mahavakya Upanishad. Na punaravrittir bhavam bho nidhau bhavati. There is no question of coming back again and again. That means what? There is complete freedom from samsara, what we call as moksha. So, while living itself, I am free from samsara. And then when the body falls, there's no question of coming back. Why? All my sanchita karmas are burnt. I do not accumulate any agami karmas. All the building material that is necessary for the creation of a new body is no longer available, and therefore I am free forever, which is called as moksha. And moksha is not something that I attain after death. Moksha is something, that freedom from the afflictions of samsara here and now, the moment I understand and assimilate this knowledge. There is no distance of time between understanding this knowledge and moksha. The very knowledge, the very understanding itself is freedom or release from ajnana. And Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Nama Idam Shri Dakshinamurtaye. To this Guru, my Guru, who has given me this teaching, and if I do the sakshat karanam of that teaching, if I clearly assimilate, imbibe, and abide in that teaching, certainly there is no question of my coming back again into the cycles of birth and death, to such a Guru Murti, to such a Guru who is none other than Dakshinamurti, who is the manifestation of that very Dakshinamurti, my namaskaras. Or Sri Dakshinamurtaye Nama Idam. And in the next verse, in the fourth verse, Bhagwan Shankaracharya talks about how it is this consciousness which is the strength or the power or the consciousness behind all the sense organs or the karanas to work. The mind and the sense organs, when they are functioning because of this light of consciousness. What is the meaning of light? Anything which reveals something else is called as a light. Therefore, here our sense organs also reveal everything, correct? Our eyes reveal what is outside, all the objects, colors, and forms. Our ears reveal the sound waves, and our skin reveals the touch, and our nose reveals the smell, and our tongue reveals the taste. They are definitely lights which reveal the objects of the world. The mind reveals the meaning of all of this. Therefore, that is also a light. But then, as we saw in the previous, thing, Hastamalakya stotram, all these are jadas. All the sense organs and mind are panchabhautika, made up of the five elements, and therefore jada. What is it that gives them, or what is it that makes them shine, makes them illuminate the objects of the world, is nothing but this consciousness alone, nothing else. So here he says, he gives an example of, supposing there is a pot with many holes, say 5 holes or 10 holes. Keep a candle, a lighted candle inside. What happens? The candle light is expressed, or it is given out through all the holes in various beams. We find beams of light coming out. It is said that it is this very consciousness here within me is actually the light behind all my sense organs. And my sense organs are like holes in a pot, and it is this consciousness backed sense organ which goes out through its individual golakas, or its individual, the indriyas are traveling out and lighting up their respective objects in the world outside. Lighting does not mean only the eye. When the ears receive the sound, The ears are lighting up the sound. When the tongue is revealing the taste, the tongue is lighting up the taste. So, all the sense organs are devas, or they light up their respective objects in the world. But what is it because of which all these are shining? They are jada. But what is it because of which all these are able to light up everything? That is this consciousness. It is the same thing which we have seen earlier in Kathopanishad. Na tatra suryo bhati na chandra tarakam nema vidyuto bhanti kutoyam agnihi tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam. When, because of this light of consciousness, everything else shines. The mind shines after the consciousness. The sense organs shine after this light of consciousness. And all that is revealed by the mind and sense organs is because of this consciousness behind them. That's why in Kenopanishad I have given you that example. Shrotrasya Shrotram. It is the ear of the ear. Manaso manoyat. It is the mind of the mind. It is the speech of the speech. And it is the eye of the eye. What is the meaning of that? That consciousness because of which the eye is able to function as eye. That consciousness because of which the ear is able to function as an ear. All the sense organs are able to light up their respective functions because of which, because of this light of consciousness, Atma. That is what is going to be dealt with here in the fourth verse. So, what does the fourth verse say? नानाच्छिद्रघटोधरस्थितमहा दीपप्रभाभास्वरम् ज्ञानं यस्य तु चक्षुरादिकरणद्वारा बहिः स्पन्दते जानामीति तमेव भान्तम् अनुभात्येतत् समस्तं जगत् तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नम इदं Shri Dakshinamurtaye. So, what does he say here? Nana Chidra Ghatodara Sthita Mahadeepa. Nana Chidra Ghata is there. A ghata or a pot, mud pot with multiple holes. Udara Sthita. Inside it is a deepa, is a light. That is shining. Deepa Prabha Bhas Varam. Jnanam yasya tu chakshuradikarana bahispandate. This light of consciousness through the sense organs is lighting up the entire world outside. And when it lights up the entire world outside, what is it that I say? Janami iti. What do I say? I say I know. When my eyes see you, what do I say? I know you, right? When I hear a particular sound, I say, I know this sound as something, whatever, a bell is ringing, I know this is bell ringing. I know this is sugar. So, what is happening? When this light of consciousness through the indriyas is lighting up the entire world outside, this not only lights up the objects of the world outside, but it also lights up the knower, the known, and the knowing process. When I say, I know you, that means what? There are three things here. I, the knower, know the knowing process, you, the known object. That's what, it's a common thing. Every day we are seeing that. I know this book. So, book is known, know the process of knowing through my eyes, and my mind says, yes, this my eyes perceive this form, and my mind says, yes, this is a book. This is a process of knowing. Pramana Vyapara, it is called as, or process of knowing. And there is somebody who knows, who I, the knower, is there. What is it that is simultaneously lighting up the knower, the knowing process, and the known. That is this light of consciousness. That's what he says here. Janami iti tameva bhantam anubhati yetat samastam jagat. Janami, I know. I know you. I know this. I know that. When I say that, what is happening? I know is there. That is the very function, that is the very way in which I know I am. Correct? Otherwise, how will I know I am? Supposing you ask me, are you there? Yes, I am there. Do I need a proof? No. If you say I am seeing, is there a necessity for proof? How do I know you are seeing? There is no proof for that. I am seeing. I am seeing, or I am not seeing. I am understanding, or I am not understanding. But the I am which is constantly shining, and after it, everything is shining. The whole universe is known first by knowing I am the knower, and then whatever is known. What is it that lights up I, the knower? The process of knowing, and also that object which is known. Janami, I know it is that tameva bhantam. When I shine, I, the light of consciousness, shines as I am, I know. Anubhati etat samastam jagat. This entire jagat, samastam jagat anubhati. Tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati. When that light of consciousness is, everything else is. When in the shining of that light of consciousness, everything else shines. So janamiti tameva bhantam anubhati yetat samastam jagat. तस्मै श्री गुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्री दक्षिणामूर्तये मूर्तये. That Guru who has made me understand that I am that consciousness, when I shine, everything shines after me. To that Guru Murti, who is none other than the manifestation of the Adi Guru Dakshinamurti, my namaskaras. So, with this, actually, with these four verses, the first verse talking about the Tvam Padartha, the Atma, the second verse talking about the Tat Padartha, Brahman, the third verse talking about Tattvamasi, Mahavakya, and the fourth verse talking about I, the Atma, is the only light of consciousness, and it's only I which make everything else shine after me. With this, actually, you know the teaching of the main teaching of Dakshinamurti stotram is over. In the next few verses, what we are going to talk about, how this, in the next verse at least, how this entire teaching, how this Atman or this consciousness is mistaken by so many people, so many types of people. Now, because Atma or Brahman is not an object of perception, it is not something that I can see and objectify. Therefore, lot of mistakes are possible. Atma or consciousness, Brahman, can be mistaken for many things. The mistake may be because of ignorance. I am totally ignorant about Atma or Brahman. I don't know what Brahman is, what Atma is. Therefore, I take the body to be the reality, the Indriyas to be reality, the mind to be the reality, the world to be a reality, because I don't know what is Atma. I don't know what is Brahman. But unfortunately, and also very, very interestingly, there are a lot of philosophers who are making very funny mistakes about Atma, very, very funny mistakes about this consciousness. So we need not feel bad about ourselves. We need not feel that, oh, I don't know this Atma, what this is. It doesn't matter. We are ignorant. But there are highly educated, scholarly, different philosophies which explain or take Atma to be something exactly opposite than what it is. They mistake the Atma to be Anatma. They do not see Atma as that consciousness, they mistake it to be anything else. And what are the various mistakes committed regarding this Atma? That is going to be told in the next verse, which is the fifth verse. And also, what is the cause for these mistakes? What is the cause for these mistakes? That is also going to be told. What is the dosha in the buddhi? What is the problem in the buddhi because of which I don't see Atma as Atma? I see this consciousness as something else, as an Atma. There are only two things, Atma and Anatma. Either I understand Atma as Atma, or I understand Atma as Anatma. One of the things. There is no question of understanding Atma as anything else. Either I see it for what it is, I understand it for what it is, or I completely miss it. That's all. So there are no two ways about it. There is no halfway. Either I know what I am, either I know that consciousness as it is, my Swarupam, or I don't know. That's it. So when I don't know what I am, I don't know what is consciousness, I don't know the Swarupam of Atma, then I mistake myself for an Atma. That is a natural mistake done by all of us because of avidya. But then there are many philosophies which mistake the Atma to be so many things. It is because of the various buddhi doshas. That is what is going to be talked about in the next verse. So let me read that again twice. Deham pranamapindriyaण्यापि चलां बुद्धिं च शून्यं विदुः स्त्रीबालान्धजडोपमास्त्वहमिति भ्रान्ताभृशं वादिनः मायाशक्तिविलासकल्पित महाव्यामोहसंहारिणे तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नम इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये. So, what are the informed mistakes? What are the philosopher's mistakes of seeing the Atma? Not an ignorant person like me and you, but what about a philosopher, established systems of philosophy, how they look at the Atma, what are the mistakes committed by them? So, what do they say? Deham, Deham ahamasmi. I am the body, nothing other than the body. There is nothing else other than the body. There is nothing called as Atma. I am the body. Deham ahamasmi. This is one. Lokayata Matha, or Charvaka Matha it is called as. They don't believe even in a Sukshma Sharira, some of them. So, Deham Ahamasmi. Then another group of Lokayata, or is, what are called as the materialists or Charvakas, they say, Pranam. I'm nothing but the prana. Okay, fine, body may not be there. Body is something which is, I'm not the anatomy, I accept, but I am the functioning of the body behind the body. So prana is the functioning of the body, the function carries on the function. So prana. So I am the prana. I'm not the body, but I am the prana. One step inside that fellow, one system of philosophy. Indriyani, another person, another philosopher, also belonging to a similar Lokayata Mata only, three times, they say, and I'm Indriyas. I'm the Indriyas. So, because the Indriyas are the ones which are doing all the Vyavahara, and I'm alive, and then my whole life is going on because of the Indriyas. And the Indriyas are doing all the functions, therefore I am the Indriyas. So I am the Deha iti, one wrong view. I am the prana iti, I am second wrong view. Indriyani is another wrong view. Then Chalam Buddhi. Chalam Buddhi means consciousness just comes and goes like waves. Chalam Buddhi. The Buddhi here means, it says the consciousness is whenever there is a thought, consciousness comes along with that, then disappears with the thought. One more thought comes, one more consciousness comes. One more thought comes, one more consciousness comes. So, chalam buddhi. So, these are called as the Bauddha Matas. Bauddha Mata is there, in which they say that consciousness is not continuous as we say, as in Vedanta it is said that ever existing, never changing, all the time existing, nityam Atma, they don't accept. There's nothing called as Atma, there's nothing called as a continuous consciousness. They say it comes and goes, it appears and it disappears. That is what is called as Chalam Buddhi. Chalam Buddhi. Kshanika Vijnana Vada, it is called as. Kshanika Vijnana. Vijnana means what? Consciousness. Kshanika means what? Momentary. The consciousness is momentary. It is not there all the time. That is what is called as Chalam Buddhi. And another group of Bodhas say Shunyam. Nothing is there. There is no consciousness, nothing. There is nothing. Shunyam for that. They say there is nothing. To say that there is nothing, somebody should be present. No. See, supposing you ask me who is there in the room, what is there in the room? I say nothing is there in the room. To say there is nothing also, there is somebody required to say nothing. Now the Shunyavadi says that nothing is there. Then who is he? He is saying nothing is there. So there must be somebody who recognizes this nothingness also. When I'm sleeping, nothing is there. Everything is resolved. But when I wake up, what do I say? I say there was nothing in the sleep. I did not understand anything. That means in that nothingness in the sleep also, there was an observer who observed the absence of everything also. And that is the consciousness or I. But what does this Bodha say? Bodha Mata say? Shunyam. There is nothing called as a consciousness. Everything is just when nothing is there. There's no world, no consciousness, no this thing, nothing, shunyam. Then what about you, the one who is talking about shunyam? I'm also then imagine. Can I say I'm shunya? When I'm there, if you ask that person, you are saying nothing is there. Then what about you? Are you shunya? So now that question comes, that particular argument comes. So they say, so I'm the body is one, I'm the prana, I'm the indriyas, I'm the kshanika vijnana, chalam buddhi, or I'm nothing. I'm shunya, I'm zero. There is nothing called as me at all. These are the various matas or the various views held by educated people, and these are the intelligent people making mistakes, philosophies making mistakes about the Atma. And why does this happen? Why these mistakes are happening? Because of certain problems with the understanding. Because Atma is not something which is objectified, you see. Therefore, it is being described by each one according to whatever they think it is. All of them are mistaking the Atma for Anatma. All of them, I'm either the body, prana, indriya, manaha, buddhi, ahankara. These are all anatmas. So it is a common mistake. I mistake myself for everything other than what I am. Everything other than what I am, I think I am. That is what different, people of different philosophies consider my swarupam to be something like this. And what are the reasons for these kind of mistaken notions about the Atma? And he says here, four types of problems with understanding. Now that we don't have time today, we'll deal with it in the next session as to what are the defects in the understanding or defects in the buddhi because of which such mistaken notions about the Atma are entertained by these philosophers. That we will take in the next session. I know this is a difficult work, but please have patience and listen. Doesn't matter if you don't understand. Just listen. It will make sense sometime or the other. Om Nandantu Sadhaka Sarve Vinashyantu Vidushakaha Avastha Shambhavi Mestu Prasannostu Guru Sada Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukhamapnuyat Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.